and John up in Conway, XHO. So up to the top, please, G3YYH from 2E0KNJ, over.
2E0KNJ in the group, G3YYH. Yeah, good evening to all, and I'm pleased to announce that this is the Rakel Chaplain with the RF feedback problems resolved, for which I'm truly grateful to all those who've made the efforts to achieve that, so I'm very pleased about that. Signal report so far, everybody good copy. I've not looked at the S-meter so far, but I'll do this the second time round, and we'll have a better idea of what's going on then, won't we? So I'll just keep it moving quickly. G0 TBI G3YYH.
Okay, you caught me on the hop. I didn't realise it was not going back to the net controller. Okay, and I'm eating something as well. I'll give reports likewise later, but everyone calling in so far has been copyable here. Who did it go to? I don't know.
Good evening, Stuart. Running order, YYH, your good self, Trevor BOH, on to John, XHO, and we have a tuner on frequency. Would the station tuning care to join us now, please? Over.
It may have been G4JSX.
Quite possibly. Good evening, Martin. Did you hear the running order? Over.
Negative, negative.
Okay, we have G3YYH on his Javelin, Stuart TBI, Trevor BOH, John MW0XHO up in Conway, and then your good self. So that is pretty much the running order. So it goes from here to PA3 BOH from 2E0KNJ.
Yeah, 2E0KNJ, PA3 BOH. Yep, okay there, John. Well, good evening to you all. Good evening, Tony, Stuart, John there, John number 1, and John number 2, and I think Martin also has just joined us. So, pretty good signals from all of you. I think, not quite sure who's top of the shop at the moment, but I'll give you a signal report in a short while. And, yeah, evening to you there, Tony. Nice net today, worked out pretty well. I don't think. Anyway, let's pass it on to the next one. Up there in Conway, I wonder how you're doing up there, John. MW0XHO, PA3BH, over.
Yes, evening everybody. MW0XHO, Conway, North Wales, and very nice signals tonight. Stuart, you sound exceptionally good. You must be on that Harris again. The audio quality is just tremendous for sideband. Trevor, very good indeed. 5 and 9 plus 10 into Conway. You're the only signal level I've written down so far. And I'm on the Javelin again tonight, and in the shack with me is the co-conspirator Dick from Llandudno, and his call sign is GW8 Victor Victor X-ray. So I'll pass it on round now, and I'm assuming then I will pass it to JSX. Martin, over to you.
Yes, G2E0KNJ in the group G4JSX. Well, good evening everybody. I'm a little bit late on the warm-up, and I've only actually written down one signal report thus far, which was John, MW0XHO. I'm hoping we're going to have a bit less drift tonight. I've been working on my VFO, and it's got a new inductor now, and briefly I've plotted degrees centigrade versus drift. And believe it or not, over a 5-degree temperature interval, it's almost a straight line. So I haven't quite worked out why that should be, but it is a straight line. So I'm going to be playing around with negative temperature coefficient capacitors. That's the next thing. So that's the story here. And on the homebrew. On the homebrew, about 300 odd watts. I'm not sure who it goes to. Let me just look now. So I'll pass it back to net control. 2E0KNJ G4JSX.
Golf 42 Bravo Lima, over.
G4EBL acknowledged. Are there any other stations that would like to join the net? Call now, please. No, nothing heard. Good evening, Ralph. We have G3YYH, Tony with his new Javelin, Stuart TBI, Trevor BOH, John in Conway, XHO, Martin JSX, and your good self. So that is pretty much the running order. Let's go up to Tony, and an explanation as to the cure to the RF feedback would be appreciated. I know that can be a nasty little subject from 2E0KNJ, also running a Javelin.
2E0KNJ on a Javelin. This is G3YYH on a Javelin. In terms of the details of the explanation, it's probably best left to the fellows in Conway, because they've actually done the detailed work to get to this point. The gist, however, is that a combination of some inductors and capacitors, I suspect, has removed the unwanted insertion of RF at the wrong point, and that has fixed the problem. And I've managed to use this now, not only with good SWR, which is what I have at the moment, despite it being a wet day, and there being leaves on the tree, etc., all those things which upset my system. But also I've managed to use it now with some fairly indifferent SWR, so it appears to be fixed. Signal report so far, Trevor, you're at least plus 10. John, you're plus 15, and Martin JSX plus 25. So great signals, and that's all I've recorded so far. So moving it on, G0TBI, have you got your mouth full, Stuart? G3YYH.
Yep, from G0TBI. No, I've just finished on the eating side. I haven't eaten much really the last day and a half, 2 days, because day before yesterday I had a tooth out. And my goodness, I've never felt so much pain in all my life while they were extracting it. And I had to stop them 4 times, but there we are, it came out in the end. But it's been a slow process in sort of subsiding with the pain all around the jawbone, etc. But never mind, it's gone now. Right, reports as I've got them. John KNJ 57 peaking 8. Tony YYH 5 and 8 to 9, Trevor VOH 5 and 8 to 9, John XHO 5 and 8 to 9, and Martin JSX 5 and 9 plus, and you're spot on frequency. I couldn't resist saying that. And Ralph, G4EBL 5 and 9 plus also. One of the strongest signals I've heard you, Ralph. So not sure whether conditions are slightly to the way around this evening. You know, some stations not quite as strong as they normally are, and sometimes it has sort of appeared that way, hasn't it? I discovered a couple of days back when I typed in VMARS on YouTube, I saw the Gill, the Foxtrot station, whose call sign just escaped me. I saw that Gill had put a video on about the VMARS net, the Wednesday evening net. So some of you might find that of interest. I certainly did. It was a good 20-minute long video. Pretty good indeed. Right, so that's the report. I'm on the Harris RF 5022 as per usual. I was just saying, Trevor, I don't know whether you read the mail, but I didn't see an email from you this morning. And I thought to myself, well, he clearly is not going to do the Crash Museum today. But I took a man-pack radio with me when I went to work today, and I was down in Broadway in the Cotswolds. And the plan was to go out and about, but the WX was a bit hit and miss. And as I hadn't seen an email, I thought, no, I'll leave it. So I just potted around Broadway, etc. And then when I got home, just after 5 o'clock this evening, your email had come through at something like 10 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. Why there was a delay, I do not know. But so that's why I missed today. Otherwise, I would have come up on the little Harris man back there. So next on the list then is yourself, Trevor. BA3BOH, G0TBI in the VMARS Wednesday evening upper side band net.
Yeah, G0TBI, PA3B8. Well, good evening to the newcomers. I think, yeah, Martin, I think you joined us, and Ralph there, good evening to you. And all good signals this evening, so absolutely no problem there. Yeah, okay, on the afternoon net, midday net actually, 12 o'clock. The thing went out from here at 9:11, and that should be 8:11 in your time, so I wonder where it went. In fact, you can check on that. There is a way you can look at the thing and see what route it took. So it obviously went a long way around. Must have been around the world a couple of times, or maybe somebody over there on the other side of the Atlantic with a name like, I won't mention the name, has been did a quick check and held on to it. But anyway, sorry about that. I normally don't send it until the morning because I want to look at conditions and find out if we're going to have a chance or not. And I was on the air earlier on this morning, and conditions were very quiet. The last few days, there's not been much happening up there, and so I would say this is very much a sort of minimum situation. So that should not have been as good as it was actually. It was a little bit better than I expected. And I'm just wondering if the reason it was so was because we might have been using one of the lower layers instead of the usual layer up above. The layer up above should only be working up to about 5 megahertz, and I managed to get through at about 7 megahertz or so. So anyway, there's always something new going on with these sort of things with conditions, but I guess it's what we should expect at this time. So anyway, a couple of nice javelins on the air, good strong signals there. Not a bad signal, not quite as strong as the javelins there. I think they're just about leading the shot there. And Martin, I think you're way up in lead there. So everybody doing well. I've got a signal report for you, Rolf. And Josh, you're not so very strong. Your javelin stopped making up as well. I don't know if it was the javelin that you're using, but not quite as strong as the other two. So I wonder if we've got 3 javelins on the air. Maybe John and Conway used each other. So it's over to you, John, and good evening to GW8VBX, I think it was. This is PA3B8, over to NW0, XHO, over.
Yes, thank you very much, Trevor. Good transmission from you, and this is MW0XHO. I did hear a call-in station, Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey, who needs to be added to the bottom of the list. And to give you the complete picture on the RF cure, the breakthrough, it was an LC filter on the mic input, and just capacitors through the rest of the audio stages. And the problem was that the audio module we're using had a very wide frequency bandwidth available on its input, so RF could creep in easily. We also put some metal foil lining in the case, grounded to help with shielding. And our road testers are road testing. We're using the improved version tonight, so it seems to be okay. And I think Tony was going to have a go at the 7 meg net. I haven't heard how that went yet, so hopefully he'll tell us about that. And I've got a little bit of VMARS news. The item that you asked me to locate is located, and it's now residing in its case and on one of the pallets that's coming on Saturday the 19th. So there we go. And the next man after me is JSX, and as far as I understand, after Martin it's EBL, and with at least one new joiner, Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey. MW0XHO over to G4JSX.
G4JSX returning to the group. Well, a few more reports in backwards kind of order. Trevor, you're about a 5 and 8 with me. Stuart, G0TBI 5 and 9. How about that, Stuart? 5 and 9. Tony, YIH 5 and 9 plus. Enormous signal from you, Tony. And sound very comms. It doesn't sound like terribly like you, as it were, but tremendous signal and really good comms quality. And John, about a 5 and 8 with QSB. So that's the story. That's the story here. I'm watching my VFO frequency. It is drifting slightly. It drifts about a hertz downhill every couple of seconds. So I know what the issue is now with the drift, is the box warming up from the rest of the radio when you switch the radio on. So I'm just going to have a play with negative temperature coefficient capacitors, which is something I've never done before, and so I'm quite interested to see how that works out. Anyway, shall I take the liberty, net control, of passing it on to Ralph, I think, perhaps? I'm sure, John, you'll put me right if that's incorrect. G4EBL, G4JSX.
Yes, fine there, Martin. G4JSX and the VMA's upper sideband group. Golf 4 Echo Bravo Lima returning. Excuse me. Well, all signals are, to my way of thinking, are all 5.9, but of course no S meter. And I'm using the rediffusion setup, which seems to modulate a little bit better than the other one, the BRM4156, which I've got to have a go at. I've got to get it on the table after I've completed the Mackay, which I think I'll have to have a few words with you, Stuart, regarding some bits. So it's and I understand that yours are packed up as well. Well, there are one or two dodgy bits in amongst it, and I've had quite a few in mind, and in fact, the whole setup, to my way of thinking, is not as good as some of the British stuff, quite frankly. Although they speak very highly. It's got a very good receiver, I must admit, but the transmit side takes a bit of, with the lack of extension boards for servicing, that's been my problem. I've had to try and service it from the underside of the motherboard, which is not a very good idea, really, but there you go. Anyway, yes, Tony, G3YYH, very sharp, punchy signal you've got there with the javelin and the head. I'll have to have a word with you about that I think John's the main. You've got a number of them, I think, and it'd be nice to have a go at that, unless I manage to purchase something else at the VMARS sale. We'll have to wait until that comes on. I tried breaking in actually with only 50 milliwatts and didn't succeed. I'm not surprised really, because none of the meters were moving this end at all. Right, I think let's take a pause. Just in case, I think it was Mike 1 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey came in. Let's take a pause and see if Richard's there. I'm sure we get a good signal from him at this time. There is a bit of QRM on the station, on the frequency. Oh, excuse me, I've got it this day. Mike 1 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey. This is Golf 4 Echo Bravo Lima, over.
This is M1 CSW. Very good evening to you, Ralph. Signal report on those that I've heard.
Is he there? Anybody can copy Mike 1 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey, over?
Affirmative.
He's transmitting now, John.
Well, we needn't say any more. 5 and 9, as always. And John, you're 5 and 8. John, 5 and 8. And lovely audio on that set. Trevor, down a bit in the noise, about a 5 and a 3. So a little bit difficult to copy there. And likewise for Stuart, he's a bit down in the noise. Right, the this evening it's the 320's turn for an airing. So I've got the 320 on, but if nobody hears me very well, I could switch to something with a bit more power. But for the moment, I'll leave the 320 on. I don't know where it goes next, so I assume the next controller's on tonight. 20KNJ, M1 CFW, over.
Mike 1 Charlie for Whiskey, good evening Richard. A little bit down in the noise there, probably, I should have looked at the S meter, but a 3 to 4, but legible with the headphones on. Comment on RF feed around. I was very much aware with it. The control head feeds the Javelin through a great fan of mine using Ethernet cables, so you can remote everything as far away as you want. And of course everything goes through twisted pairs. Then there's just a small adapter into the 15-way. That helps quite a bit. The audio processing on the outside is in a screen box and everything goes through RFI filtering in. The microphone filtering going out is in the same metal enclosure as the Raspberry Pi, but that's in a extruded aluminium box with plastic ends, which is great because it's a waveguide less than cut-off for any frequency the Javelin can work at, but it's a pass-through waveguide for the frequencies that I can reload the Javelin program off Wi-Fi, which works absolutely magically. Crafty little trick we learned doing this thing professionally. Anyway, Richard, update, order YYH, TBI, Trevor BOH, XHO up in Conway, Martin JSX, Ralph EVL, and your good self. I won't mention a fort named after the old English drink made out of honey, but you get your drift there, Trevor. So up to the top, please, G3YYH from 2E0KNJ.
2E0KNJ G3YYH. Yes, thank you, John, and thank you, everybody else, for your good comments on the audio. And Martin, I wonder if it sounds like me, because you've only got half my voice, as in the sideband, of course. Perhaps you're used to my voice on the DX100, and this does sound a bit different. But actually, I'm quite pleased with the quality of the audio as I listen to it myself on Hat Green. The head, as we've said, was made by John and Dick, and indeed the Javelin itself came from John. So I'm very pleased with it, actually, and I'm going to have good fun with it. I like the way that the main set is separated from the control head, which means the desk space it takes up is very slight. Yes, Ralph, there's some interesting stuff coming up in the next auction. I've been to collect quite a lot of it this week, and so there's quite a lot of it now resides with me here, ready for a fortnight's time, and really quite looking forward to that. It should be a good one. And Stuart, I hope you're in fine voice for that, because you'll need to be. There's a lot of it. There we go. So extra signal reports, JSX plus 25. Stonking great signal, Ralph EBL 59+, and Richard CFW 5 and 9, drifting downwards slightly, and there is now QRM on the frequencies. I've had a bit of RTTY, and there is some sideband around as well. And John, thank you for digging that item out. I'll drop a note to Stuart to explain what that's about. And yes, the net did take place at lunchtime, John. Inter-G working was very difficult, and very problematic with QRM and poor signals. But immediately prior to the net, I managed to work an RS station in Bantry on the far west of Ireland, and Trevor was a good signal with me, and likewise I had good reports on the Javelin there as well. So all's well now, I think. The next step is to move it back into the shack proper and do the final soap test with SWR there and RF in the shack. But I think we're there, and the microphone, I think, is a great combination. The happy combination of a professional insert and a fist mic body, which I suspect strongly is XCB. Moving on now, G0 TBI, G3YYH.
Yeah, G0
YYH0TBI, let me just check I've got it.
Go ahead, Stuart.
I think you've just commented on the question I was going to ask. What type of microphone are you using? As opposed to the one that John is using, K&J. I wonder what the two differences are. Maybe you can tell us again. I think you just said XCB microphone, Tony. I'm just wondering whether if you could find yourself an Rakel RA250 handset, I wonder if they would be compatible with those. Of course, the man to ask would be Pete G7DX3, who works for Rakel Esterline, and he might have all the dynamics of the various microphones that might be applicable to that particular project. So that's something you guys might want to consider. And those microphones are around, and sometimes you see them at Radio Rally. Okay, amended report 5 and 9, Tony. Who else came on the frequency? Martin Jarrett, I've already given a report, 5-9 plus. Ralph 5-9 plus. And Richard, good evening to you. 5 and 2 to 5 and 4 I've put down, but towards the end you're a 5 and 4 on your 320 there. Okay. I'm not going to hold it, guys, if you don't mind. I'm going to go and finish off relaxing now with regards to my tooth problem that virtually dissipated again this evening after I took two Nurofen. Other pills are available, other brand names are available, but I think it's just that 1 or 2 days needed to get over the shock of the hammer drill in my mouth, trying to get the thing out. But we'll get there. So cheers to everybody. Thanks for running the net there, John, and all those that came on the frequency. And yes, I look forward to receiving a mail from you then, Tony, with regards to the mystery item. I'm not quite sure what you're on about, but it might all make sense in the fullness of time. 7-3 for now, and I'll just pass it straight on to Trevor. PA3BIH, G0TBI. I won't be listening during the lounge on my computer. Bye for now.
Yep, G0TBI, PA3BH. Yep, okay there, Stuart. That's still coming through pretty well. And yep, everybody, very good signals. But just two of you guys not getting through too well. John, you've dipped down a little bit into the noise, so a little bit more difficult. That's John, K&J, and Martin, you'll also dip down into the noise, so not too good from that point of view. But the rest, pretty good. Well, some news from my side. Spent a lot of time on one of my sets here. That's the Marconi AD1420, and finally found out what the trouble is. At the moment I've got about 3 faults, and I want to do a little bit more alignment because I think there might be 1 or 2 other things. So I have a question for you, Martin. It's got a couple of 40X250s in, and one of them obviously has flashed over at some time and was taking an enormous amount of current, and I need to find out if there was a reason for that. But now it appears to be taking a little bit more current than I would expect, and producing a little bit more power than I would have expected. Just a single one taking about 300 milliamps and putting out easily 100 watts. So I just wonder what your steady current is when you're transmitting there, particularly if you put it into AM, let's say, or if there's a standing current when you switch the thing on, Martin, and what that current might be. And also if you know what the negative bias voltage is. I assume that my negative bias is not correct. Something I need to measure next step that I do though. So that's of interest to me. And then I have another question for the other one, for you, John, there in Conway. I'm curious to know what values you used for the capacitor and the inductors that you used on the microphone. If I remember looking into some of the carbon microphones, pretty sure you're not using a carbon microphone, and being very surprised at the high level of the carbon microphone. I also have the facility for this set here to use a dynamic microphone. I use a Rakel REF one, and that also occasionally gives me some trouble there. So I'm just wondering what value you're using there. So that will be a question for you, John, in Conway there. So it's, first of all, let's see, I think next one is then you and John there in Conway. Maybe you can answer that question sometime. This is PA3BH. Over to you, John.
MW0, XHO returning, B3BOH and the VMARS group. Yeah, I'll just whiz down the signal reports because I have only given one so far. Starting from the top, 2E0KNJ, 5 and 9 plus 10. Tony, 5 and 9 plus 15. And Stuart, TBI, 5 and 9 plus 10. Trevor, 5 and 9 plus 10. Martin, absolutely blowing the doors off. You're 5 and 9 plus 25 to 30. Ralph EBL, you're 5 and 9 plus 10. And lovely mod. Really is the nicest signal I've heard from you. The rediffusion's doing a great job. Richard, Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey was very good on the call-in, but not so good when it was your turn to transmit, Richard. So we don't always have a good path between us. On the RF filtering front, it's a LC filter on the live microphone wire coming into the control head, comprising a 100 microhenry choke and a 10N capacitor to deck. Very straightforward. And also it was screening, don't forget, screening inside the case that helped. And none of the problem was caused by the Javelin itself or the cable going to the Javelin. They are all 600 ohm transformer coupled at each end, twisted pairs, so they don't pick anything up really, balanced line. It was purely the preamp, the microphone preamp module, which was sensitive to the higher frequencies and sort of distorted itself and sent distorted audio into the Javelin. So we've got rid of that now. We think we're in the final version, which is going to be road tested by various people who are able to do that for us. So that's the picture here in Conway. I'll pass it on to the next station, and that's you, Martin, JSX, MW0XHO, standing by.
G4JSX returning to the group. Got a few answers, if I can stretch that far. What I'll just QRX.
This frequency is in use.
Grid bias is 50 volts, John, on transmit. Should have said Trevor. 50 volts is the grid bias, Trevor, on transmit. The cutoff volts is 146. Standing current 140 milliamps on 2 valves, so that's 70 milliamps each. Standing current, Trevor. And when you whistle it up, yeah, thick end of about 350 milliamps on the whistle, with 2 kV on the anodes, Trevor. So yeah, I hope you got that. I can't quite stretch far enough with this curly lead to have a look and see what's going on, but that's the gist of it. So anyway, signal's still fine. Good evening to Ralph, 5 and 8 plus. Nice one. And Richard, I can't give you a proper report, Richard, because you've not been on long enough yet, but probably about 5 and 5. So round to Ralph, G4EBL, G4JSX.
Yes, fine there, Martin. G4JSX on the group. Golf 42 Bravo Lima returning. Yes, nice transmission, nice and sharp. and demolishing all QRM. Well, there's not an awful lot of QRM actually. I think it's lower sideband just eating into the upper sideband filter, I think. But this setup I've got here is it's only 100 watts PEP output, and from oil-filled linear amplifier. It's quite heavy, mind you, and I'm drawing something like about 4 amps. Something like that. It's peaking up at about 4 amps. And if you're still listening there, Stuart, I'll give you a bell over the Twisted Pair, and we'll have a chat. It may be later this evening, or probably tomorrow morning. I'll see what we can get sorted this end. It's all to do with the Mackay that I've been fiddling about with. And, of course, I haven't had full attention on it, so it does take a bit of time to think back and get the notes out and find out what the heck I've been up to previously. Right, I did intend making a linear amplifier using 4CX250Bs. In fact, I've got all the bits to do it. And I went out and bought Collins 30L1, which needed some repair job done to it. That was to join up with the Mackay, but certainly the Mackay's taken a little bit more time to sort out. The trouble is no extension boards, and I don't know whether what your pal down in London or the Rachel outfit Stuart, if you're listening, can help us out at all, because I understand that your Mackay also did a wobbly. So, anyway, Richard, yes, I did copy, I thought I'd lost you initially, but you came up an off Q5 signal. Sadly, I can't give you a report, but 100% copy towards the end, so there you go. We don't very often have a good link, do we, Richard? So maybe this time I'll pass it over to you and see whether we get a good link. Mike 1 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey with the upper sideband net, Viva. Go for it, go Bravo Lima, over.
As you say, we do get a good link. There's obviously nothing to do with because it'll only have to go for the tip eventually. Much like the prize, I never thought anybody would be interested in away, including about 100 weight of landforms of QST, QBC. I did hold back on one piece of equipment, which was a Pine SSD-130, because it's really true that they've got a couple of valves in the TA 883, which I believe are equivalent to I'm pretty sure they're equivalent to 6146. This is probably missed the mark by somebody within the female community. So I hold Do you know now it's the highest of the 130 big channel crystal control towards transmitter. I don't think there are many in use in the UK. That's mainly for the foreign market. So, but I hung on to that anyway. So, something I believe I can see in a powerful newsletter that somebody has got one on the air. The lunchtime bit, well, I could hear Trevor, but unfortunately nobody else. So it was really a bit of a one-way thing. It's just Trevor. I could get on with Trevor all right, but really couldn't hear anybody else. So with that, I think it goes back to net control. So 2E0 K&J, M1CFW, over.
Mike 1 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey. Yeah, okay, Richard, no problems with headphones. Interesting, the grey line is obviously coming into play. I think sunset is just after 9 o'clock now, not that far away. The path to Conway has obviously come up. The path to PA land is going down, which is probably what one would expect, but it'd be nice when we have some summer. Anyway, microphones, I'm very impressed with the naturally restricted frequency response of a lot of the Klansman microphones, and this one is actually a rocket armature from the Klansman series that's been shoehorned into a Philips tulip-shaped mobile PMR microphone case. So, and nice green cable, curly cable. So again, a big aid to stop howl around. I think it should be up to the top now. There's an interesting program on at 9 o'clock about Einstein on Beep 4. So I'd like to catch up. So perhaps we should go up to the top for our finals. G3YYH from 2E0KNJ.
2E0KNJ, G3YYH, fine, John. Yeah, it's a good net and an interesting net as well, and it's nice to have a kit that works, isn't it? So, final round of signal reports. Trevor's still +10, John, you beat +15, JSX, I think you touched +30 at one stage, so a huge signal, and Richard on your 320, 5 and 8 to 5 and 9, so doing pretty well there, and perfectly Q5, so all very good. Anyway, thank you chaps very much for the net, much enjoyed, and I'll see you all again soon. Stuart's gone, hasn't he? So Trevor, around to you. PA3, BOH, G3, YYH, going QRT.
Yeah, G3YYH, PA3, BOH. Yep, okay there, Tony. Well, very nice signal and great audio there, getting through very nicely with the Javelin. That was certainly the case this afternoon as well. Unfortunately, you guys had a little bit of difficulty hearing each other, but I think that's part of the course at this time of the year. But we did manage something at least, so that wasn't all wasted. So I'll also say best 73. So first of all, John, thanks for those figures. Well, yeah, the 10 nanofarad always sounded quite high to me, but I've seen that on other circuits. Although it does seem to be quite a big capacitor, that sort of size I've seen on one or two commercial microphones as well, and also similar size with the Chepstow. So maybe I'll get around to putting the dynamic microphone on this set at some time. I've got the amplifier, it's all part of the test kit radio which I'm using to drive this set here, but for a long time I've just been doing the easy thing, that's plugging in the carbon microphone in the front instead of using the complete installation, so maybe that will fire me with enthusiasm to get started. So that's the first one. Secondly, Martin, thanks for those figures. Well, mine seems to be taking a little bit more power than that. I need to check that. I need to check what the bias is. It's supposed to be 9 and 66, but I haven't got around to measuring that yet. And I don't know what the standing current should be, but it runs with 350 volts on the screen and 150 volts on the anode. It's taking a little bit more than I would have expected from the data sheet. So my next step, having got the thing now to work, is to go through the whole thing and measure all those voltages and currents and see just what's happening. And if it all looks okay, I'm going to have to look around for a couple of new 40X250 duties, because one of them certainly has gone. And by the way, they were all terribly rusty. They'd been in this set for a long, long time. Don't know where in the world it had been. Probably flown around in some war zone or whatever. But the sides of the anodes were covered in rust, and there were little particles of rust all over the pins of the base there. So with that, I'm going to say best 73. It's nice talking to you guys. I'll call it a day, but most of the signal's holding up still quite nicely, John, but for some reason yours wasn't so very strong today. Normally you're a lot better. I'm talking about K&J, but you, John, XHO, cracking signal as usual, and Richard, unfortunately, wasn't really reading you at all, but everybody else was doing well. Ralph also a very good signal here. So let me pass it over to you, Martin, and I'm going QRT, but we'll listen round to the end. Yes, it's John's next, isn't it? Yeah. MW0, XHO, John, PA3, B8, over to you.
MW0, XHO returning with the group. Yeah, lovely transmissions tonight, Trevor. Great to hear you on. And we're also going to go QRT shortly. It's cup of tea time. And by the way, I'm using a Shaw 444 microphone tonight. And the setup that on the mic that Tony's using at the present time is one that Dick and I put together on our last service visit, and it's one of the red striped green cased Raycall inserts in an old like the man said, an old CB microphone case, so it is a Raycall mic in effect. And the just in case you're wondering, Trevor, the filter goes at the microphone input socket on the control head. It's not at the microphone end, it's at the other end of the mic lead. So there we are. Very interesting net, and really enjoyed the company of all the members tonight. Excellent. And Richard with the 320, you did come up quite nicely during the last over. But the 320 doing well when we could hear it, but not a problem with the noise and the path between us. So that's the picture overall here in Conway in North Wales, and 73s to everybody, and thank you for the great contact. MW0XHO, passing it down to the next man on the list, G4JSX. Over to you, Martin.
G4JSX returning to the group. Yes, well, Richard, you're kind of a good 5 and 6 with me, you were. So conditions obviously to your neck of the woods are quite good. So no problem at all copying you. Despite what the QRM, and the QRM isn't that bad here. It's not bothering me at all. So Trevor, if you're still listening, looking at my RCA book, the standing DC grid voltage is minus 55, and in my case is minus 50. But they've got 350 volts on the screen. I've only got 300. And zero signal DC plate current 83 milliamp. And what you find is that the screen volts makes a tremendous difference to what happens. And on the 4CX250 can either be positive or negative. And as you alter the tuning on the tank circuit and other than the drive level, the screen's got to be able to sync and provide current. So it's got to do both. It's got to be properly stabilized. And what you do is you feed it through a resistor to make sure that should the HT fail, you can't blow the screen out, because the screen wattage is limited to wait a minute. Yeah, the grid number 2 input maximum 12 watts. So what you do is you feed the stabilizer tube or tubes via a resistor, so that should the HT fail, you can't put more than 12 watts into the screen. And you need good screen regulation. And as you alter the tuning on it, the grid current, the screen grid current goes from minus to plus. So the sort of indicator of what's going on is really the screen current. You can tell what's going on in the bottle. And usually when you're talking, it sort of sits at 0 and dithers upwards and downwards, you know, about 0, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. So yeah, I don't know, I'm probably telling you what you know already, but that's what I know, Trevor. Okay, well thanks for running the net, John. Well done, and I think you said there was something about Einstein on at 9 o'clock. Back round to you, Ralph. G4EBL, G4JSX. Cheers all.
Yes, fine, Martin. G4JSX, G4EBL to the QSO for the final. You mentioned the RCA transmitting tube. Pulled mine out of the rack behind me, and it's still in good condition. It's a little bit marked, but nevertheless, it's all there. And some of the details on it are quite phenomenal, because on the 250B, they give us something like about, you can put 400 volts on the anode. Oh, well, blimey, that's a bit much. But there you go. Anyway, I'll put that away and look at it another day. First of all, Richard, I'll copy 100% of that over. Excellent audio, and pleased that we've got a decent... I wonder if you've altered the aerial like I have. I've put a dipole up, which I think works a lot better with this outfit. I noticed on my homebrew ATU the needle is really moving almost full scale. So there you go. There's only a 100 watts linear amplifier, which is the GA481 Redifon job. It seems to do the job. I've got 1 or 2 of those. One of these days I must come up on the CJ3, which is another Redifon outfit I have alongside it. So, over to you there, Richard, and as I say, a very nice sealer, and all stations I copied, well, no problem at all. In fact, I think Trevor came up very, very strong on that last over. Right, over to you there, Richard. I'll say 7-3 to all members on QSO, and over to you there, Richard. Mike 1 Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey, Golf 482 Bravo Lima, over.
Well, before I close, a couple of comments. Well, Ralph, I'm using exactly the same material, the end-to-end bit of wire down the gulf. Then you use everything here, just the lack of room, but all license I've got. So, apart from that's room for some dipoles on the much higher frequencies. And the other comment I was going to make was about half full extra of wood, which is fair enough, but I wonder if we get one way of it, now and again we ought to mention where we are. It might be of interest to them. Just in case there's anybody there who thinks there's near Hampshire. Right, John, thanks for running the net. Enjoy your TV programme. Good. Catch you next Wednesday. You know what we're closing the listening.
Yes, good night, Richard. Martin, are you still listening? Just a brief comment about negative temperature coefficients. Go ahead, please.
Yes, go ahead, John.
Oaksley, many years ago, made a differential capacitor with one side with positive temperature coefficient and the other side negative, which meant you could dial up just about anything you wanted in terms of temperature coefficient without changing the capacitance, QSL.
I think I got the gist of that, John. Just say again. There was you dived down into QSB. Just say again, John.
a differential capacitor, you know, two fixed elements and a moving variable between them. Two fixed elements and a moving variable between them. One side was negative temperature coefficient. I think it was just a dielectric with different ceramics. One half was positive temperature coefficient, the other side negative. Two sides, one positive, one negative. When you changed the value, or sorry, the setting of the capacitor remained constant in value, but changed from a positive to a negative temperature coefficient, QSL.
Yeah, not a good copy, John. You've dived right down. It's amazing. But I got the gist of it. A differential capacitor arrangement, so you can dial in the, if you like, dial in your temperature coefficient. Is that what you were saying? Go ahead.
Absolutely. One half was positive, the other half negative. One half positive, the other negative. And as you moved the rotor from one half to the other, the capacitance remained constant, but the temperature coefficient changed from a positive to a negative, QSL.
Yeah, QSL, John. Oh, that's quite neat, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. That saves a lot of mucking about, doesn't it, really? Swapping, a lot of mucking about and a lot of soldering. Yes, I like that. Thanks for that tip. I shall have a think about that this evening. Cheers, John. G4JSX listening briefly, then go NQRT.
Okay, Martin. Yes, as you say, you could obviously fabricate one with a small differential capacitor and a positive and a temperature negative capacitor off the plates to Earth. I think the original Oaksleys, they were like hen's teeth when they were about 20 years ago, so chance of finding them now, probably remote. Anyway, thank you for putting up with my efforts as net control, and catch you later down the log. Good night all.
Cheers, John. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, good night to you, John, from PA3BH. Well, Martin, if you're still there, just a quick comment.
Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, thanks for all the advice. Well, I've read a few of those things in the books, but nothing like going to, let's call it, the horse's mouth to get the practical information. Some of the things that you mentioned you don't actually read about. Yeah, I've got the data sheets, various different data sheets. The RCA, no, not the RCA one, I got the IMAC one and the STC one and all that sort of rubbish. But yeah, okay, on the anode, well, I only just got this thing working again yesterday, so I'm going to go through all the measurements, and certainly the screen is one of the things I want to look at. That's got resistors feeding it, and it's got three 120 volt Zenas, great big fat Zenas, but I haven't got round to testing those, and it's quite possible that's too high if one of those is on. But it could be that something like that has happened, which has caused the failure of one of the two of the valves there. So I want to get to the bottom of this before I put it on the air. So thanks very much for all those comments, very much appreciated, especially from somebody who's got some experience with it. That makes a big difference there, and yeah, mine should be working at minus 66 volts when it's running, 350 volts screen voltage, but I don't have any documentation to say what current it should be, but it certainly shouldn't be as high as 200-300 standing current. Anyway, with that I'll say best 70 degrees. It was nice talking to you. By the way, I did try to send an email to you a couple of weeks ago with a copy of the catalogue for the upcoming auction. I sent one to Ralph and tried to send one to you, but it bounced from your email, so I never did get it through to your email. I wonder if it's still MO engine something or other, I wonder if that's still working there. So just over to you for the final there, Martin. G4JSX PA3BH, over.
Yes, Trevor, it's still the same. First half is mo.engineer. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen that. Mind you, I haven't had a route about in the spam. Oh no, you said it bounced, didn't you? So Yeah, the email address is still the same. Yes, what else could happen? Of course, if they flash over, that knackers up all the screen supply as well, and of course the decoupling capacitor in the valve base, if that's what you've got. If you've got one of the better valve bases with the inbuilt decoupling capacitor, and the valve flashes over, it knackers all that up, as well as your screen supply, and it's quite a destructive event. What else can I say? Yes, and the screen, I've only got 300 volts on my screens. And yeah, you picked up on, make sure the supply you feed the screen from, and the resistor size that feeds the Xeners, means that if one of the Xeners goes open circuit, you can't put more than 12 watts into the tube, into the screen. Otherwise, it damages them. So what else can I tell? My experiences are as well, but you don't have to worry with any time delays or anything with switching it on. Just bang all the supplies on together at once. A lot of people put complicated time delays in and things, and on this one and my UHF one, I've never done that. I just bang all the supplies on together, the lights dim slightly, and that's fine. The heater voltage is important as well. That needs to be 6 volts, not 6.3. So I've got like some homemade little wire wound resistors to make sure I've got 6 volts on the pins of the tube. So that's pretty much all I know. On the various second-hand ones I've got, the faults I've had a cathode to heater short, and I've had the odd other one that just doesn't work. So something's obviously fallen off inside, like the screen. I've forgotten, others just don't work. And then some of the second-hand ones, you just get sort of low output, lots of screen current and low output. So that's the score. The two in here, these are both second-hand. So there you go. And it's always so scary though, isn't it, messing around with the HV? I don't like it much. I'll be very, very careful. I hope that's okay, Trevor. I'll have a listen for any reply, then I'm going QRT. PA3BOH, G4JSX.
Yeah, G4JSX, PA3BOH. Well, thanks for all those tips. I think that'll all come in useful. And yeah, I'll be getting on tomorrow and start doing some measurements and all those things you mentioned. So should know something within the next few days. And I'll try your email address again. Maybe that I did reply to one of your messages, but it didn't seem to get through. But I'll let you know how I get on. I think you'd be interested to know, and it's certainly nice to know of someone else who's having the same problems. There is another guy over here who knows quite a lot about them. I've been talking to him today about it. So, yep, it's all good fun working on these things. So I wish you best 73s, and talk to you again later, maybe Friday or next week at the same time. BA3BH signing off and clear with G4JSX and the group. Bye-bye.
Yeah, 73's Trevor. What I'll do, if I remember, I'll go into the house now and I'll attempt to send you an email so you can be sure you've got the email address right. 73's Trevor.
Yep, okay, bye now.
Martin, do you copy me at all? G4 Bill, standing by?
Yes, yeah, 5 and 7, 5 and 8, Ralph, over.
Roger. Well, I'm on the CJP, a little less juice going off the antenna. In fact, it's only about half. Probably on, I'm on now on 51. So, I thought I'd come up and just have a quick laugh. Thanks a lot there, Martin. Glad you get away. And I'm going to have a word with Stuart if I can get hold of him. Cheers for now, Martin. The 4 emails signing by for the final.
Yeah, fine, Ralph. A good 5 and 8. No problem at all. Wouldn't have known you were on different radio, really. So there you go, sounds fine. All the best for now. G4EBL, G4JSX.
Yeah, 73 Martin, and also 73 to Trevor in Holland. G4EBL just listening and then closing down.
Yep, bye Ralph.
Bye Trev. G4EBL testing. 5. Oh, it's near enough. Not quite the same. G4EBL now closing down.